My goodness, guys, talk about volatility. So about an hour ago, we had Jerome Powell get interviewed by David Rubenstein. He's a billionaire investor. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but David Rubenstein interviewed Jerome Powell, which caused this insane market volatility. I mean, look at this. SPY was moving, or actually, this is Triple Q. Triple Q went from 304 to 310, down to 302. Now it's at 306. SPY in that same time period, I mean, was pretty volatile as well. You guys can see this went from 410 to 415 to 407. Now it's at 412. So it's been moving like that, guys. We have a lot to break down in this video. If you all find value, hit that like button, subscribe, get up to 15 stocks from Moomoo and up to 12 stocks from Webull. Link down below. Feel free to also check out the Patreon if you guys want. And now let's just dive right into it. So last week we got a pretty hot jobs report for January, and that caused a lot of speculation. Oh, is the Fed going to be more hawkish now? Is the Fed, going to try and raise rates more aggressively, to combat this? Oh, is inflation going to start ripping again? Who knows, right? A lot of speculation last week. And today we got some words around the economy, inflation, what's going on from Powell's perspective. And he talked a little bit about services, goods, housing, all that good stuff. So let's just dive into it briefly, guys, in this video. And after the market closes today, guys, we have a lot of stocks to talk about. So we're not going to talk about too many stocks in this one, but we're going to look at pretty much the markets in general, SPY, Triple Q. Then after the bell, we're going to cover all the companies that are reporting earnings. So what I'm trying to get at is you guys got to subscribe and be in tune for that video later on today. So he said that we're not seeing disinflation in services quite yet. And simply what disinflation is, guys, well, it means declining inflation. Not necessarily deflation, but declining inflation, which overall we've seen that. I mean, inflation was 10% at one point. Now it's 6 and something. I forget the exact number, but it's coming down. And he said essentially, which we kind of already heard, but he said disinflation is beginning to appear. And the guy that was, or David Rubenstein was saying that he used that word 11 times in his speech, this past week, which is pretty funny. I mean, he did say that a lot. He's clearly trying to get that word jammed in everybody's head, right? And again, disinflation just simply means declining inflation, which is what we're technically seeing right now. And he was asked, what is the biggest worry? And these are just some key things, guys. We're not going to go over every single thing that he said, but he was asked, what is the biggest worry about his biggest worry about the country's economy and inflation of today? And he keeps reiterating the fact that we're just at the beginning of the process. Anything could really happen. The Fed's data driven or data dependent at this point, and they're going to make their decisions based off the data. A lot of the stuff that we've already heard, right? But he also said inflation is improving as supply chains are improving and people are rotating purchases to services. Essentially what he was saying was the supply chain got disrupted. Everybody was buying goods prices shot up. Now we're starting to see that rotate to services, right? And we're not seeing it quite yet in housing. Rents are still extraordinarily high. They're going up, all across the board. Rents are. I mean, you guys probably know that if you rent. And he also said that we are going to see disinflation in core services, or rather, when are we going to see disinflation in core services and housing? I'm not sure what he said about that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might have missed a piece in my notes here. But he said he also, on top of that, guys, Jerome Powell, which, I mean, this is a serious concern. He worries about the war in Ukraine and the opening in China, the overall, economy opening up in China, which could affect supply chains, could affect the economy and the path of inflation here in the United States. And a lot of people tend to, I don't want to say they're ignoring the Ukraine, Russia, China, the global tensions. They're not necessarily ignoring that, but it's kind of on the back burner right now in a lot of people's minds, at least in my opinion. And that could be something that it could be something from left field. In other words, let's say we do get World War III or something crazy ends up happening, amongst Russia, Ukraine, China. The U.S. gets involved, which of course the U.S. wants to get involved in everybody's, all foreign affairs, right? I mean, that's what the U.S. does. There's a lot of big money in wars and this, that, the third, which we're not going to get into in this video. We're not going to dive into that rabbit hole. But yeah, there's a lot of things that people are maybe not thinking about or they put on the back burner. And Jerome Powell saying he's worried about, Ukraine, China, all that good stuff. And they also said, and by they I mean the Fed, Jerome Powell, they expect significant progress on inflation this year, yada, yada, yada. I mean, we've heard all this in the past, and of course, they're going to react to data, and if they continue to get strong labor market reports or higher inflation reports, again, they're data dependent, they might have to make more rate hikes than are priced in currently. And of course, that is a huge risk for the markets overall right now. Of course, the markets now are ripping like no other. I mean, if we just pull up the performance of SPY and over the past year, not even the past year to date. I mean, if we just look at the performance, a rough estimate, SPY to begin January was like 385, somewhere in that ballpark. It is now up 7% from that point. Triple Q in that same time period, it's from 268, and that's on the 10th of January, guys. Not even in the beginning of the year, but it's a ballpark, right? 268 now. Triple Q's at 307. It's up 15% in the past month, essentially. So yeah, I mean, if we get any piece of news, another strong labor report, maybe inflation sees a spike, you bet your you-know-what, these markets are going to fall on their face. But, right now they're just running on, they're running on the fact that we are getting disinflation, the fact that on the narrative that the Fed is getting it under control. They have it under control. That's what that's the narrative they're running on right now, at least in my opinion. But the second we see a piece of data or Powell saying he's going to go past that 5%, which he said in the meeting, last week that it's reasonable that they might not go over 5%. But if they start ripping past that 5% Fed funds rate, we get some data that's not good for inflation. The markets are gonna get hit. The stock market's gonna get hit, and we could be in for another leg down, which a lot of people right now, they're starting to forget. They're starting to forget that we usually see a bunch of bear market rallies. And I'm not trying to be a doomsdayer here, but I'm just trying to be realistic. And you guys can see on the 3-year chart on Triple Q, I mean, we're still well within this downtrend based on the looks of it. Sure, it is breaking out of the moving averages, but are we out of the high yet from August? No, we're not even near that. We're still $25 under that high. Now, if we start breaking the high from August, let's say we start taking out 330, 335, we start ripping towards 350 to 375. All right, at that point, you can make a legitimate case for the bulls. But as things stand right now, I mean, this is just simply another rally within a bear market. And let me actually see, is the NASDAQ? Yeah, it's definitely still in a bear market. It's down 24%. Even with this rally, guys, 15% rally in the past month, the NASDAQ is still in a bear market. It is still down 24%. Keep that in mind. And we also have SPY, which is not in a bear market anymore. We might as well look at all these. SPY is also under the highs from August, well under the highs from August, but it's not in a bear market. Nah, not even close. Oh my God, you guys got to realize SPY is only 13% off all-time highs. I mean, this thing is not in a bear market anymore. If you look at the Dow Jones is almost at all-time highs. I mean, this is insane. The Dow Jones is only down 5-6%, 7% from all-time highs. If we have another good month or 2-3 months in the stock market, we could be back at all-time highs. Does that make sense to you guys? It doesn't really make much sense to me. Now, if inflation drops like a brick, all right, maybe that makes sense at that point, if inflation drops like a brick. But we're not seeing that yet, guys. I think a lot of people are getting a little too excited so far. But then again, you could argue 2022 was an awful year, which it was. So we're just getting a little snapback in the markets to start off the year. I don't know. You can make a lot of arguments on both sides. I'd love to know your thoughts, of course, in the comments down below. And if you haven't gotten your free stocks yet from Moomoo, might as well plug it in right here. Get up to 15 stocks from Moomoo, each up to $2,000, and up to 12 stocks from Webull with any amount deposited. All of those are linked down below, guys. I appreciate you all as always. And look at the Russell. The Russell all-time high is 2458. Now it's at 1960-ish. It is down 20%. So it's actually digging its way out of a bear market as well. This is insane, guys. I mean, these markets are starting to turn around, which I'm not 100% buying yet, like I said. And we can see the Russell still under the highs from August, well under the highs from March. So I'm being a bit cautious. Let me just say that I'm being a bit cautious. At this point in time. And just let's go back and circle back to SPY Triple Q before we wrap the video up. This is ripping right now towards the intraday high, and if I wouldn't be surprised if we did end up taking that high out, 415, maybe go up a little bit more. That would not surprise me if we were to do that today, by the looks of it, right? Triple Q, there's a lot of I don't want to say excitement, but a lot of bullish momentum just today. I mean, this thing is about $2 away from the intraday high. I would not be surprised if it were to test that or take it out at some point in the next hour 15. So I'm going to wrap the video up there, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comments. And if you didn't know, I started a portfolio for my Patreon members. There's a bunch of, other, key things in the Patreon that you guys might like. Check it out. Link down below. I'm posting pretty much every single day. I'm not buying stocks in that portfolio every day because I'm not just going to start this portfolio and just buy stocks every day for the sake of the Patreon. I'm strategically buying stocks in there, and I'm going to show you guys how I'm building this portfolio over time. So check it out. It's tier 1. There's 20 spots available. Well, now there's less than that. People are signing up. So if you want to check out the Patreon, get all the other perks as well, Discord, call outs, charts every single day. I'm posting multiple charts. If you guys like the way I break things down and I write a bunch of stuff on there, check out the Patreon down below. I'll see you guys on the inside. Peace out.